You chose absolutely right, tuning in to Rwanda Television News tonight. A very good evening to you from wherever you are joining us from, and thank you for your company. For tonight's edition, these are the headlines. The RPF Inkotanyi's chairman and its presidential candidate for the July 2024 presidential election, Paul Kagame, urges Rwandans to embrace unity and security for what has been achieved to be preserved.
On Thursday, independent presidential candidate Philippe Mpayimana continued his campaign in the district of Bugesera.
During a press conference on Thursday, Frank Habineza, the presidential candidate of the Democratic Green Party of Rwanda, expressed satisfaction with the progress of his campaign rallies.
And on the international scale, President William Ruto dismissed his entire cabinet following weeks of deadly protests.
A very good evening to you once again, and many thanks for joining us on Rwanda Television News tonight. Coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Sam Kalisa.
And mine, Martina Vera.
How are you doing, Martina?
I'm very good. How are you doing this Thursday?
Very, very great. Gearing up for the elections?
Yes, a few days to go to the election day. We hope everyone is informed and has everything that it takes to vote on those days.
Absolutely. And we can't start it any further to election matters. The RPF Inkotanyi's chairman and its presidential candidate for the July 2024 elections, Paul Kagame, urges Rwandans to embrace unity and security for what has been achieved to be preserved. This is as on Thursday, Chairman Paul Kagame campaigned in Gakenke district in the northern province. Prince Manzi, start us off tonight.
It was in the higher morale that the Gakenke residents and RPF Inkotanyi members received their candidate for the presidential elections, Paul Kagame, who as well sang along with them.
Banyagakenke! Banyagakenke muri hehe.
They allowed that Gakenke residents applauded the incumbent President Paul Kagame has done for them.
We used to wear clothes describing us as useless women, but now we are happy that we are able and fashion-wise. We are beautifully dressed, making us looking beautiful in our husband's eyes.
Candidate Paul Kagame reiterates that Rwanda's past has a lesson to encounter, adding that the future holds a lot better.
The
much better are ahead of us. You know why? The pact we have is the basis. Christian Bizumuremyi, a Rwandan native living in Belgium, was also a part of the RPF Inkotanyi members in Gakenke district. With a team of diaspora present in RPF Inkotanyi's campaigns, Bizumuremyi discusses how they have dignity as Rwandans thanks to the name Paul Kagame. It is the dignity that he gives us abroad, and whenever we knock, we are served because of the name Paul Kagame. Paul Kagame is our brand. Based on Rwanda's progress, candidate Paul Kagame urges Rwandans to embrace and preserve unity, adding that the youth are to be on the forefront in this journey.
We are
Rwandans. And after being Rwandans, we become whoever we want to be. Rwanda is the priority. That is the unity we mean. How we are different, how one is different from the other, there is strength. And together, united, there's even more strength. Can you build a house and tomorrow wish that it falls on you? No. We have to preserve the achieved. So security is important. That security, you are the ones in charge, and especially the young ones. We trust you. The incumbent president, chairman, and RPF Inkotanyi's flag bearer for the July 2024 elections is also supported by other 8 political parties. The RPF Inkotanyi campaigns will continue on Friday in Gasabo district.
Thank you, Prince Manzi, for that report. On Thursday, independent presidential candidate Philippe Maimana continued his campaign in the district of Bugesera. He vowed to turn Bugesera into the capital city of Africa if elected to the country's top office. We have more on this report.
Bugesera district residents, especially those in the Mayanja Center, attended the campaign rally to listen to the manifesto of independent candidate Philippe Maimana, who is vying for the presidential seat for the next 5 years. Maimana pledged to create 1 million jobs once elected. This is the first time I have included statistics in my pledges to citizens. I told them that it is possible to create 1 million jobs in the next 5 years, as I also showed them how that is possible, through agriculture, fishing and more. I also pledged to multiply agriculture produce by 10 times through increasing investments in various aspects of it. That is what I'll be doing at the 4 remaining sites. I want to indicate the practicability of my manifesto. He vowed to turn Bugesera into the capital city of Africa if elected to the top country's office. The African continent was created by God. It is time for Africans to transform it into a suitable land for themselves. If Rwanda brings up this idea of Africa's unification, a specific area will be needed as Africa's capital city, and I think Bugesera fits the most. There is different activities including the airport, but also the proximity to the city of Kigali. I want Bugesera to become the central place for Africa's unification and prosperity. Philippe Maimana has so far campaigned from 26 districts. He eyes campaigning in all the 30 districts of the country before the much anticipated presidential and parliamentary elections. During a press conference on a Thursday, Frank Habineza, the presidential candidate of the Democratic Green Party of Rwanda, expressed a satisfaction with the progress of his campaign rallies and conveyed confidence in winning the upcoming elections. The press conference took place while the Democratic Green Party's campaign activities are yet to reach 4 more districts of the country before the presidential and parliamentary elections. Discussions were attended by local and international media outlets and social media users. The Green Party emphasized that its aims are for the good of Rwandans and the national building in general, as announced by the Green Party's campaign manager, Jean-Claude Ntezimana. One of our party's agendas is the unity of Rwandans. We do not wish or intend to reverse what the country has achieved in this particular regard. We share that primary goal with the current ruling party. Although we are an opposition party, we are a constructive opposition party. Our ideas and agendas are meant for the development of our country. Presidential candidate Frank Habineza stated that overall his campaign activities are proceeding smoothly and he is confident of winning the upcoming elections.
Indeed, we have already covered 26 districts as of yesterday. So we are remaining with only 4 districts that we are going to cover in the next 2 days. I would say overall there's a good impression this time, more than it was in 2017 and 2018. Like in 2017 it was so difficult even that some local leaders sent us to campaign in a graveyard in Nyagatare district, and were even beaten by stones in the Chilehe district. So this has not happened. We have faced some challenges this time also in Ngoma district and in Rulindo district. In Ngoma, they organized 2 campaigns in the same area, which was not allowed by law, which was a problem to us. Also in Rulindo, same thing happened. They closed all the shops and people were told to go somewhere else, which was a challenge. But out of the 26 districts, the 24 remaining ones, it was very okay and were received very well by government officials, district mayors, vice mayors, executive secretaries, So I would say that there's a very good impression this time, and also there was also overwhelming support from the population because our strategy has not been campaigning only on the campaign side, but also campaigning on the street. And we've seen a lot of support from the streets. We saw that in Rusizi, where over thousands and thousands of people left their shops, came down to receive us, and they were dancing for us. And we've seen that in Rubavu. It was the same. We saw that even in Bugesera, and you all were there in Chichichiro recently. So people even came and even broke the laws. The laws were blocked by them, not us. And I mean, people have shown overwhelming support. They are so interested to hear our message, and they are unstoppable. I would say that it is so much overwhelming that the support we are getting is very wonderful. But it's also because we have been in Parliament for the last 6 years. We have been very active in Parliament. We have delivered. We promised people many things. And most of the things we promised the people have been achieved, have been implemented by the state. So people know that we are a serious party, a party that does not lie to the population. What we say, we keep our promises. So because of this, people are very interested to hear what we have to promise them again, because at least they have hope that what we tell them will be achieved. So I think that's one of the reasons that people are very supportive.
At the press conference, the Democratic Green Party emphasized their commitment to fostering good relations between Rwanda and the neighboring countries. On Friday, the Democratic Green Party is scheduled to hold rallies in Musanze and Burera districts.
The Social Democratic Party parliamentary candidates highlighted that the party plans to build on the achievements of the past 30 years and continue advancing socio-economic development. Adam Squizera has more.
On Thursday, the PSD campaign rally continued in Kikavira sector at the Iga site in Gwamagana district. The residents of Gwamagana district highlighted that in addition to being part of the coalition supporting the RPF Ngotanyi's presidential candidate, Paul Kagame, the PSD has a strong manifesto focused on ending extreme poverty and developing infrastructure.
We request advocacy for water supply because we all know that water is crucial in our lives.
I expect them to fight corruption and promote good governance in primary institutions and healthcare. We want them to represent us effectively because they are aware of our common issues.
During the campaign rally in Gwamagana district, the PSD parliamentary candidates presented their manifesto emphasizing their commitment to providing fair justice, strengthening development programs for the district, and enhancing the community's well-being. They assured residents that these priorities will be their focus if elected.
We talked about preparing wetlands in these districts to advance agriculture and animal husbandry production. Another thing we reiterated was the construction of roads to make the surrounding lakes more productive.
We will advocate for the provision of fair justice by speeding up trials. Instead of having criminals in prisons, we considered ways they can engage in various developmental activities for the country.
At all rallies since it launched campaign activities in Wujese district on June 22nd, PSD said it will strive for improvements including marketing Mutual de Sante, the community healthcare, to work in all pharmacies across the country if its candidates get seats in parliament. Adam Squizera, reporting for RwandaTV News.
Observers representing the International Conference on the Great Lakes region, ICGLR, in the presidential and parliamentary elections scheduled in Rwanda held a press conference announcing that they were given full permission to monitor all activities related to these elections and testify that its preparations were a success.
It is a group consisting of 25 MPs and senators led by Honorable Moses Frank Moyo, who say that what has been done in the preparation of this election so far gives hope that it will go well.
The purpose of the mission is to observe how elections are being conducted post and prior to election. Our preliminary findings is that the electoral registration process went on very well and the campaigns are relatively peaceful. No major cases so far recorded.
These proposed representatives in the Parliament of the International Conference on the Great Lakes region, ICGLR, said that when they arrived in Rwanda, they were well received because some of them had already spent 2 weeks on the job.
We are here on an observer mission. And so far what we've observed from, as you've heard from what our delegation leader said, the situation is very, very peaceful, and the campaigns are going on very, very well from what we've observed in Kigali. So everything looks so peaceful so far.
It is expected that this group of observers will hold discussions with different institutions, including the National Electoral Commission, before the actual elections take place. It is also expected that on the 17th of this month, they will announce the provisional report on the observations of their presidential and parliamentary elections. Rwandans living in the diaspora have expressed satisfaction with the measures taken to facilitate their participation in the upcoming presidential and parliamentary elections. In several areas, additional polling stations have been established, and in other regions, arrangements have been made to help people reach the stations. These efforts aim to enhance voter turnout and ensure that more Rwandans abroad can be able to vote easily. Olive Nete with more.
Rwandans living in various countries across different continents will vote on Sunday. They report that polling stations are being prepared with all necessary equipment set to be installed in time for the elections. To vote, individuals must present an identity card, passport or consular card. Some of the Rwandans living abroad indicates that they are well prepared for these elections.
In Belgium
and across the entire diaspora, we all know the date for the elections, which is July 14th. We are ready and eagerly awaiting the date to vote. We are all aware of the polling stations we will use, and the embassy informed us about them earlier to avoid any last-minute inconveniences.
Here in China, all preparations are complete. The embassy has been very helpful in ensuring we are well prepared and we have everything needed for the upcoming elections. We know the stations where voting activities will be carried out, and every Rwandan here in China knows their designated voting station. All necessary materials have arrived, and there are 8 polling stations in China.
In Kenya, we are ready for the elections. The embassy has been advising us and informing us about the necessary steps to take to participate. I would say that we are truly prepared. Currently, the embassy and the community of Rwandans living in Kenya are sharing messages about how all activities will be carried out on the election day. Some of these Rwandans say that last time they encountered challenges such as the distance of polling stations from their residences. However, additional polling places have been established and measures have been taken to facilitate access, including providing transportation. They believe these efforts will help ensure a smooth voting process. Last time, we only had 1 polling station at the embassy, but now we have 4 in Liège, Anvers and Luxembourg. Previously, it was challenging because the single polling station was far away, leading to long queues due to the large number of people. It was also difficult for elderly and sick people to travel from city to city. And now, with the additional polling stations, it will be much easier for everyone to participate in the elections without hindrances or long journeys. The challenges we faced included having only 2 polling stations, one in Mombasa and the other in Nairobi. This is seen as a challenge for those living in distant provinces to reach these cities. However, some members of the Rwandan community in Kenya have pledged to help those coming from afar by providing transportation, such as buses, to ensure they can make it to the polling stations. Charles Munyaneza, the Executive Secretary of the National Electoral Commission, announced that preparations for Rwandans living abroad are nearly complete. He confirmed that the necessary materials have already arrived at the polling stations in various locations where Rwandans reside.
All materials required for elections in the Rwandan diaspora, where Rwandans will be voting abroad, have already been transported. The remaining few materials are expected to arrive soon. I would say that everything is set, and people are aware of the locations of the polling stations.
The National Electoral Commission has announced that there will be 158 election sites for Rwandans living abroad, accommodating more than 60,000 voters. The elections for Rwandans living in the diaspora will take place on July 14th. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Thank you, Olive. While many countries are grappling with a heavy burden of foreign debt, economic experts suggest that African countries should focus more on attracting investments and utilizing domestic financial institutions rather than rushing to secure foreign loans and aid. Sandra Ishimwe brings us the details.
Data from the African Development Bank, AFDB, reveals that in 2024 alone, African countries took on foreign loans amounting to $824 billion. Consequently, this year the continent is set to repay $74 billion in debt, with some countries allocating up to 65% of their GDP to these repayments. International financial expert Donald Kaberuka advises African countries to intensify efforts in attracting investors and breaking the cycle of dependence on foreign loans and aid.
Going forward for the African countries, my hope is that one day we can break the cycle of aid and debt. In the early 90s, GDP of Vietnam of under 16 billion, 1/6. Now GDP is close to 500 billion. And what has made the difference is not the ODA, it is not debt, it is foreign direct investment. So we need to figure out this. What is it that makes it possible for us to break that cycle? That is a real direction to macro stability in our countries. So we need to have leadership in our banks, in our treasuries, partners, thinking about that issue. I think that's where we need to put our focus.
Figures from Rwanda Development Board, RDB, show that in 2023, the value of foreign investment in the country reached to $2.1 billion, up from $1.6 billion in 2022. Additionally, data from National Bank of Rwanda, BNR, indicates that in the 14 years preceding the COVID-19 pandemic, inflation rates were at 5%, contributing to the investment surge. Inflation rates were at 5%, contributing to the investment surge. Some investors in Rwanda attribute their interest to the country's developed infrastructure and efficient service delivery.
There are so many countries that the international banking system does not recognize their letter of credit. But in Rwanda, once the banks are respected, once you put out a letter of credit to get equipment outside, this goes smoothly, But in so many other countries, this is almost unheard of. There are countries that have not honored their letter of credit for almost like a year. And this is the tool that most business people use to get things from outside.
The leadership of Rwanda has done a very good job of showcasing the country, and I think setting a very good example for the continent. So for instance, the easy visa-free access for virtually everybody in the world, the huge conferences and events that Kigali is putting on, the new stadium, the new advancements, the new airport, all the things that it's doing as a country to make things bigger, better, easier, safer, more secure, is a big example for the world, really. And I think that's something that all of us commend the country on, and one of the reasons that we came here to stay.
The national budget for 2024 to 2025 fiscal year, totaling Rwandan francs 5,006,090.1 billion, foreign aid will amount to Rwandan francs 7,025.3 billion, representing 12.7% of the budget, while foreign loans will account for Rwandan francs 1,003,018.1 billion, equating to 23.2% of the budget. Economic expert and ECCAC Economic Commissioner François Kanimba believes that corruption and misappropriation of funds are significant factors keeping the continent in perpetual debt. However, he also suggests that domestic financial institutions could be leveraged to provide loans to government instead of hastily seeking external loans.
Hari icyo byagabanya kuko dukoresheje amafaranga ari muri za banki.
it would mitigate some of the issues because it raising the funds available in local banks and having them invest in infrastructure projects in collaboration with the government could have substantial impact. You often hear that banks have substantial funds but lack viable projects to finance, while governments seek funds from abroad. This discrepancy needs thorough examination to find a better way to utilize the financial resources within African countries before turning to external sources.
Umutungo ibihugu bya Afrika bifite mbere yo gutekereza kujya gushakisha amafaranga hanze.
The World Bank's 2022 report on the nature of foreign debt in Africa highlights that some countries are using sovereign bonds as a way to ease their debt burden, offering these bonds on the market with interest rates ranging from 5 to 10%. Countries employing this sovereign bond to manage their foreign debt including Côte d'Ivoire, Benin, Kenya, Cameroon, Gabon, Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, and Rwanda. Ishimwe Sandra, RwandaTV News.
In the coming years, Rwandan youth are anticipated to significantly impact and influence the nation's development as Rwanda aims to become a middle-income country by 2030 and a high-income country by 2050. The youth are encouraged to harness their creativity to start their own businesses, contributing to Rwanda's journey toward prosperity. Ketia Ineza has the report.
Chikwan. Rwandan youth are seen as the foundation of the country's development in the coming years. Rwandan youth are seen as the foundation of the country's development in the coming years, while the elder generation played a crucial role in reconstructing and developing Rwanda from the ground up. The younger generation is now tasked with maintaining and advancing the nation's progress. Batsinda Blaise, co-founder of Tofi Frappes, exemplifies the spirit of entrepreneurship. He left his previous job to start a business with 2 colleagues, showcasing the potential of young Rwandans to drive the country's economic growth.
Working, we are earning salary, but there is a time everything has an end. Why don't you continue? Why don't you move and do your own? We are here. Our future is getting more and more developed. Toffee today is small, but we believe and we are working for it so that tomorrow it will be big. It will be big. Our advice to the youth, it is easy. You just focus. Keep dreaming, but get up and work. You can't dream and you stay dreaming. No, you have to get up and work.
Johnson Runuya, the founder of Johnson the Baker, is a young entrepreneur who started business operation from his mother's kitchen. Today, he owns a baking shop and employs a significant number of people. He says that there are a lot more opportunities for the youth today than it was 30 years ago.
Which is a bakery that started in COVID, middle of the COVID pandemic. By then, I was graduating, I was finishing high school in the Cambridge program at Excella. And when COVID hit, we had to do projects for school where we had to keep ourselves busy and start a business or do a remote internship. That is how I started baking in my mom's kitchen. But today, the business grew, of course, from my mom's kitchen, and now the bakery is well known in the
Uwase Assumpta, the founder of Urugero Fashion, a younger female entrepreneur, started designing her clothes with one machine and has now grown to a fully fledged fashion house providing jobs to other people. It is not an easy journey. There is a period when the youth struggle to find jobs. So why not start my own business and create jobs for others? It started with just a thought and my siblings supported my idea. I started with my sister and slowly developed my business. We only had one sewing machine working day and night, barely sleeping. We grew bigger and created job opportunities for other youth so they can take care of their families and live a good life. Uwizeyimana Claudine, one of Urugero Fashion's employees, said the owner of Urugero Fashion, Assumpta, supported her by giving her the opportunity for a job and developing her skills. I'm glad to work with her because as a student she supported me by mentoring and guiding me through work and slowly helped me to expand my skills. Today I can make my clothes from scratch to a nice style that can be sold. Youth under 35 years old make approximately 78% of Rwanda's population, playing a crucial role in the nation's recovery by strengthening social cohesion and driving economic growth. As Rwanda aims to achieve middle income status by 2035 and high income status by 2050, the youth are encouraged to harness their creativity and talents to contribute to country's development. Ineza Kitia, RwandaTV News.
A warm welcome back to RwandaTV News. Thank you very much for sticking with us still. Sam?
Right, we'll transition it to international matters. It was a normal day at work for the 21 cabinet secretaries and Attorney General Justin Muturi hours before President William Ruto announced the decision to dismiss them. At the Kenya School of Government on Thursday morning, 8 former cabinet secretaries and former Attorney General attended the inaugural National Development Implementation Committee, which deliberated on the better service delivery to Kenyans. We do have the details courtesy of Citizen TV Kenya.
The Kenya School of Government in Lower Kabete on Thursday morning played host to at least half the cabinet hours before President William Ruto announced the dismissal of the cabinet secretaries. At the inaugural National Development Implementation Committee, Prime Cabinet Secretary and Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, Head of Public Service Felix Koskei, and former Attorney General Justin Muturi led the former cabinet secretaries in a meeting that deliberated on better service delivery to Kenyans. In attendance were former cabinet secretaries Aden Duale, Susan Nahumicha, Njuguna Ndungu, Ababu Namwamba, Simon Chelogui, Florence Bore, Zachary Njeru, and Penina Malonza. Secretary to the Cabinet, Mercy Wanjau, was also present. Mudavadi urging those gathered to ensure integrity and accountability in executing their mandate.
It is time for us to cut our cloth according to our size, through prudent utilization of the available resources and targeted investments in areas of the better programs that realize the best results to the target beneficiaries. Cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, ladies and gentlemen, accountability remains a cornerstone of our mandate. As public servants, we are trustees on behalf of the people of Kenya, and we remain accountable to the people of Kenya.
But to their shock, all the cabinet secretaries except Mudavadi will not implement the development plans following the dismissal of 21 cabinet secretaries and the Attorney General to allow for formation of a broad-based government. This picture posted at 3:10 p.m. a reminder of their last engagement before they were shown the door. The event came just 2 days after another meeting at Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's official residence in Karen, where he chaired a cabinet committee meeting to ensure quicker implementation of cabinet decisions. At the Ministry of Mining, former Mining Cabinet Secretary Salim Vuria was meeting with members of the Kenya Chamber of Mines, where they discussed matters of licensing in the mining sector and plans to embrace a value addition.
And part of the reforms that we committed to was to make sure that Kenya has a reliable mining data. And I'm happy to say that that program has now been concluded.
In Kilifi County, former Tourism Cabinet Secretary Alfred Mutua was the chief guest at the launch of a beach cleanup exercise at Vidazini Beach. Mutua asked residents to make their beaches clean to attract more tourists.
Nitajenga police posts on the beach. Ikishirikiana zile za tourism police
alafu nawanunulia pia zile quad bikes. Unajua zile motorcycles za miguu minne, quad bikes, kwa kuwa wanaweza tembea, wana patrol the beach all the time.
A planned tour of the BRT Line 2 along Thika Superhighway by former Roads and Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen was cancelled at the last minute, hours before the address by President William Ruto. The dismissals came exactly a week after the cabinet met following 2 weeks of anti-government protests, which forced the head of state to withdraw the controversial finance bill of 2024.
And the report brings us to the end of our tonight's edition. On behalf of the entire news production as well as the technical team that made it happen, many thanks for being with us. My name stays Sam Kadisa.
And mine, Martina Vera.
And we'll say up until next time.
Stay safe.
And have a great evening.